Youth. We are so excited to be with you again for another episode of On the Line. We hope that you've had the best week. We love that we can come and spend this short amount of time together on a Friday night still. We can't wait to see you. We can't wait to be back together. But right now, stay tuned for the next episode of Youth on the Line.
So Kate's come up with some kind of crazy idea as a challenge, and would you kind of like to describe what that is?
All right, so I am challenging Rick to see how many squats he can do whilst holding me, and then I'm going to beat him. Holding him though, not holding myself.
Let's see if she can do it.
Ready to do this? Who's going first?
You're going first because I'm going to win.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Oh! I'm going to do a run up.
Oh gosh.
3, 2, 1. Alright, I'm ready! Ready! 3, 2, 1.
Oh!
Alright, that's one people. He couldn't, well, I'll give you one for that. I'll give you one. Alright, here we go. Okay, you need to run up. I'm a bit nervous.
You're nervous?
Come on. Alright, guys, I've got this. You ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm smashing you. 5, 6. Women power. 7, 8.
Right, whoa!
9.
Oh my god. Don't try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try this at home.
Winner! That's one for whatever team that is. Woo! Hey guys, and welcome back to Bible Bingo! I am with Cheyenne, and we will be doing another day.
Another day, another Bible story, because we know you love it.
Yes, and don't forget to comment down below. You finish it.
Comment down below what you think the Bible story is. So we need the book and the chapter in the Bible, and if you get it right, the first comment will get Ubereats! Because Ubereats never goes out of fashion, even if you're watching this in 2 years' time.
Yum.
And now, we will draw the Bible story. Oh yes! Balaam and the donkey. Here we go. Off to curse Moses. Let's go, donkey. Excuse me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Donkeys can't talk.
Well, maybe in this world.
Why are you talking to me?
Because I'm trying to warn you.
About? Turn around. Moving on. Go, donkey, go. Donkey! Donkey!
No.
Why?
Because I told you I'm trying to warn you.
About what?
Don't actually know.
Right.
Yes. But there's an angel behind me.
What?
Can't you see her? Him?
No.
Huh?
Donkey, we're going to try this one more time. You can't talk. You're doing your job as a donkey. Move it!
Nope. Walk yourself.
Fine. Donkey, there's an angel.
I know.
Donkey,
I
come back.
know.
He's got a sword. Take the donkey, don't take it! See. Make sure you comment below what you think this story is from. This is a random one, it's a hard one, but I'm sure you get it. And Ubereats is coming to you. See you next time.
Hey guys, welcome to Youth on the Line. You've got me here again, preaching to you, and I hope this actually means something to you. Because I want to talk about something that really should mean something to you, and it's this thing called identity. People know who you are. People could recognize who you are, and that is a good thing. Those of you that have school IDs, has a photo of you, has your name on there, has your ID. This says who you are. Knowing who you are is extremely, extremely important. But one of the questions I need to ask you tonight is, how do you know who you are? Is it something that you come up with yourself? Is it something that someone else tells you that you are? Or is it something kind of deeper than that? Is it something that is ingrained in our makeup of who we are? And one of the things that I've been thinking about lately is these identity issues that are around race. And a lot of you would know what's going on in the States at the moment, which with what happened to George Floyd and the racial tensions that are around both in the States. It's permeating through the world. There are things that are happening within our own nation, which are all based on this thing called race. And race is one of those things that makes up our identity. And there's something within us, when someone is criticizing someone on the basis of their race, there's something within us that goes, it's not right. It doesn't make sense. Their race is part of who they are. How can they actually change that? It's actually something that is sacred, something that is a gift, something that is given to them. They can't create it themselves. It's actually given to them. And what we know from the Bible is that that is actually given to us by God. God is the person who gives us our identity. And if you put it this way, for us to find out what our identity is, it's not so much asking the question of who we are, but it's asking the question of whose we are. And that is something that one of my heroes of the faith, Ravi Zacharias, actually coined. Whose we are, not who we are, but whose we are. To find out whose we are, that is really finding out who we are. We're not self-made. And I know a lot of you out there would have heard this idea of the self-made man, she's a self-made woman. And it just is not real. It's not true. None of us are self-made. None of us could have made ourselves at all. None of us could have come up with the specific DNA which makes up who we are, uniquely us. No one has control over that whatsoever. You weren't created by accident. I wasn't created by accident. It wasn't some cosmic accident that happened and all of a sudden, boom, we're here. No. We were thought out. We were planned. And not just by our parents, but by God. God actually planned that we were going to be here. God knew you were going to be here. God knew you were going to be listening to this right now. God knew that I was going to be talking to you right now. He has actually formed us together in our mother's womb. That's what the Bible tells us. He also tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that there is not a mistake within us and the way that He has made us. But this problem of sin has completely tainted the way we look at this thing called identity. We've got a really confused world at the moment who says that you can actually make who you are. You can create your own identity. You can choose all sorts of different things about yourself and how you want to be called, even to the extent of what gender you want to be known as. And I don't know if you've noticed this weird shift when it comes to doing paperwork, for instance, and it has, male, female, and other. Other. Where did that come from? It came from this confusion. It came from this lack of understanding what this thing called identity really is. The fact is, the way that God made us is a really special thing. The fact that I've got, this colored skin. God made me this way. There's this really cool kids book that I've been reading with Hudson and Isla, which is actually called God Made Us This Way. I'm happy God made us this way. And it goes through all the different animals and all of their different characteristics, the differences that they have. And the animals saying, oh, we're glad God made us this way. We're glad God has made us this way. I'm glad God made me this way. But that wasn't always the case. I wrestled with self-image issues for a long time when I was growing up, even to the point of feeling that it wasn't worth living. It really wasn't worth living. I was a butterball kid. I was a chubby kid for a long time. That really got to me. I didn't like my teeth. I had this massive gap in my teeth for ages until these other teeth behind here started to grow through and then pushed everything together and close that gap. But, there was things about me that I didn't like. When I was a teenager, I had really bad acne. I ended up having to take a special medication to get rid of it. But the feeling of getting up in the morning and seeing, pimples all over your face or on my back or in these places where people would see, it's awful. And I didn't really like the way I looked. I didn't really like who I was. And I went through this whole rigmarole of really trying to find out who I was. And I had to go on a discovery myself. And it has its ups and downs. There's moments where I really knew who I was. But then, the carpet would be pulled out from underneath me. Something would change. Maybe it was teasing. Maybe it was comparing myself to someone else and going, geez, I wish I looked like that. Geez, I wish I had that character. Geez, I wish I had that talent, And I had to get to this point of being really comfortable with who I am. And the secret to discovering who I am was discovering whose I am. And the closer I got to Jesus, the more I understood who he was, who God is, the more I understood who I'm meant to be, what my true identity is. When I was in New Zealand on our honeymoon, Kate and I were in New Zealand on our honeymoon, we went through one of those passport things where you don't actually talk to a person. You put your passport down in a machine and then it takes a scan and then you have to look at a camera just like this and you have to, give the blank passport photo look right down the barrel of the camera. And it takes time to try and recognize who you are and tries to find out these different things about your face and match it up with the passport to confirm your identity. And I found it really frustrating because every time Kate went through one of these things, it was fine. It recognized who she was just like that. With me, it just didn't recognize who I was. Didn't matter how well I looked at the camera, putting my feet in the right position, looking perfectly still. And I was at this point, I was looking down the barrel and I'm like willing this machine to recognize who I am. But it would just keep coming up saying, it doesn't recognize me. I don't know who you are. And I was thinking about that just the other day. Going, there is going to be this point where we're actually all going to stand before God. When our life here on earth is finished. And it doesn't matter whether you believe God or not. We're all going to stand before God when we die. When we finish our life on this earth, we're going to stand before God. And there's going to be this moment of whether God actually recognizes us or not. And Jesus actually gives a very, very heavy message in Matthew 7 talking about being recognized. Because there's going to be people that stand before Jesus when they die and they're going to say, Lord, I cast out demons in your name. I did miraculous works in your name. I did all of these things in your name. And he's going to say, depart from me. I never knew you. I don't know you. I don't recognize you. And they're going to have that feeling that I had with the passport, and it didn't recognize who I was. But it's going to be so much worse than that. So instead of me just taking my passport to someone and they're looking at it and then going, oh yeah, I know who you are, and then through the gates you go. At that point, if Jesus doesn't recognize you, that's it. He separates. And the Bible makes it really clear that at that point, there is no second chance. But on this side of eternity, on this time on earth, we have an opportunity to find out whose we are. We find out that God created us. We also find out that Jesus came to die for us, to remove this thing called sin, which has changed our identity. And this one sin has been removed, and then we're saved out of this sin. We start to form who we're always meant to be in Jesus. And so when we live our life with the identity that Jesus has given us, being a Christian, being a believer in Jesus Christ, being born again, as Jesus put it, having that new life, being identified in Him. When we finish our days on this earth and we have lived our life with His identity marked on us, He's going to see us on that day and He's going to say, well done, good and faithful servant. Put it another way, so well done, you found out whose you are, so therefore you know who you are. Come and enter eternity. Come and enter this life that I have for you. It is so important for us to find out who we are and whose we are on this side of eternity. None of us know. None of us know how many days we actually have on earth. We don't know, but our days are all numbered. I've worked in healthcare. Many of you guys know that. I've seen people die. I've seen the elderly die. I have seen young people die. And the shock when someone young passes away, it is really, really palpable. There's something that is something so real about that. And sometimes a bit scary. But none of us know when we're going to die. None of us know how many days we have on this earth, but we're given this opportunity to know who we are. We're given this opportunity to know whose we are. And the person that gave us that opportunity is Jesus Christ. 2,000 years ago, Jesus came to earth. He was born. He was God's gift to the earth. He was our Savior King who came to take on the sins of the world. John 3:16 tells us, for God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son, that whoever believes in Him shall not die, will not die, but have eternal life. So whoever believes in Him finds their identity in Him. They are born again, and then when they live their life for Jesus, they can have the assurance and the hope that when they die, they're going to be recognized by Jesus. Their identity is going to be recognized by Jesus, and He's going to say, well done, man, well done, girl, you did it, you did it. That is what I'm going to hear, and that is the confident hope that I have, is that when I live my life with Jesus at the center, with Him telling me who I am and whose I am, I have the confidence to live this life for Him, knowing that He's in control, He loves me, He's growing me up, He's taking me, as the Bible says, from glory to glory. And for you to have that same opportunity, you need to ask that question, do you really know whose you are? Do you belong to Jesus? Do you have your identity formed in Him? Are you trying to make yourself? You're trying to form your own identity. I tried to do that. It didn't work. I tried to copy someone else. It didn't work. I had to rest in the fact that God made me. And He made me unique. He made me who I am. And that is a gift and that is a blessing. But Jesus died for you so you could know Him, so you could know God, so you could know who you're really meant to be. Identity is important, and I pray that you find yours.
That's all we've got time for tonight for Youth on the Line. We're so glad that you could join us, and we hope you have a fantastic week.